Assalamualaikum. I'm Professor Faridah Muhammad Noor. I will be talking on digital revolution era in the perspective of forensic pathologists and anthropologists. These are some of the breakdowns on the history, the current state, and digital forensic research in the next 10 years. We will go first to the history, that is the utility of advanced imaging in anthropology and pathology. Imaging technologies are crucial in forensic anthropology. It enables us to document scenes and skeletal remains. Digital photography has actually revolutionized by capturing exceptional detail in the pictures. Advanced imaging technologies offer a way to record the skeletal remains and the injuries, and it can generate 3D reproductions for illustration. With the 3D virtual models, we can actually use statistical approaches like geometric morphometry to assess the skeletal diversity for sex and ancestry estimation. The adoption of these techniques can be hindered by factors like high costs, expertise, and the time needed for data collection and processing. And to overcome these challenges, we need collaborations between anthropologists and other experts to progress in the forensic case studies. In a good lab, there is a microscope that can take digital pictures of very tiny or larger details. It can help us to document things like cuts, marks, fractures, and changes. Every photo, if it's not great or taken by mistake, is to keep showing the order of the photo numbers and proof that there's none deleted by accident or on purpose. And it is useful to have a backup copy. Here are some of the pictures showing sharp injuries and blunt force injuries on the radius and ulna using a special microscope. The order of X-rays is crucial to show signs of trauma, fractures before and after accident, and this is especially important for delicate remains. There are signs of injury if you look at the bony contours with the extra bone formation and here as well. In forensic anthropology, CT scans serve multiple purposes. They record human remains with the soft tissue intact and the bones in their natural arrangement. This is good for spotting and studying fractures in their original position. Comparing a postmortem CT scan and the processed skeletal specimen is to show you the linear occipital fracture. The scans reveal specific bone characteristics that can help identify the individual or provide clues about how they died. It can create 3D model from CT scans and can be matched with actual bone samples to help in the positive identification. This is a comparison between antemortem CT scan and a photograph where we can overlay the suture patterns on the skull to corroborate the identity of the individual. CT surface scanners can actually be created to show the different types available either using lasers or patterns of light. Unlike CT scans that use X-rays and show internal structures, these scanners can only capture the external surface. Automated turntables, which spin a set of round during scan, it can make process easier and they are often parts of stationary 3D surface scanners. Photograph A is a screenshot using digital photos, photogrammetry software, and this is using Next Engine desktop surface scanner, while this is the original cranium, and you can see that they are quite similar to the original one. Forensic anthropologists might have difficulty in buying expensive equipment like CT scanners and high-end laser scanners. Some labs may not even have digital X-ray systems. So it is quite costly to buy additional software for analysis. Programs like Amira, Geomagic can be quite useful, but it costs thousands of dollars. A 3D technology keeps progressing. You can anticipate a new, precise methods to do data handling and analysis. And this crucial step need to be fostered between forensic anthropologists, enforcement, law enforcement, and forensic pathologists. Let's go to the current state in order to see the new perspectives in anthropology. FARIDAH is a computer program that uses statistical methods to analyze measurements from unidentified skeletal remains. It helps to determine the sex and ancestry by comparing the data in the database. Initially, the data come from Forensic Data Bank, which is used and developed from the Terry collection in Washington, D.C. and in Cleveland, Ohio. And they actually comprise unclaimed bodies from the early 1900s. The BSC William Best Skeletal Collection and FDP are unique because they reflect the populations that forensic anthropologists encounter. And they are actually real forensic cases, and they are the cases that forensic anthropologists deal with their everyday work. The FDP contains data like age, sex, ancestry, birthplace, medical history, and also include age estimates, birth-related traits, and dental observations. Discriminant function analysis was done on these elements based on the Hammond-Todd collection, and some of them were different because of the changes in their leg proportions due to overtime changes. Hence, new statistical methods have to be created on the more recent data. Let's go to the digital forensic research in the next 10 years. The current great era of computer forensics is ending. If you don't have a plan to support research, the forensic progress will lag behind. Hence, we need to suggest a new standardized modular methods to handle the data and forensic processes in order to move forward. An autopsy is a detailed examination of a deceased person to show how they died and why they died. Modern technology has transformed traditional autopsy into virtopsy by using computed tomography, MRI. An advanced modality like MRI and CT scan, it provides a more detailed, specific results compared to conventional autopsy. Facial reconstruction is a forensic tool that involves recognition of skull found in mass disaster or forest for the positive identification of an individual. Manual 3D can be done by using clay, plastic, or wax, and the tissue depths are placed on the specific points on the skull model. This method is widely accepted as it considers the tissue thickness and facial muscles. Advances in software have resulted in the creation of 3D facial reconstruction systems. And these systems use 3D animation software. Computerized systems for facial reconstruction are faster, simpler, and more cost-effective compared to the manual methods. Digital forensic, they use computer science and investigation to analyze digital evidence for legal purposes, and it is useful in large-scale disasters. This is a study which I've done during PhD project, whereby we do microscopic study to differentiate between human and non-human long bone histology. Age estimation can be done by using histomorphometric method, and they are mainly focused on American and European populations, with limited research actually being done on Asian populations. This project aimed to distinguish between human and non-human bones, and assessment were made on the bone thickness, the cavities, and the elevation system using image analysis. The discriminant function actually classified 81% of cases, 96% for human, and 66% for animal, whereas human age showed a standard error of 10.41 years. This image depicts a cross-section of a rhesus monkey femur bone magnified at 100 times to show you the deviation system and the plexiform pattern with primary deviation canal. And this image is a plexiform bone pattern mainly found in animals. This is a plexiform in non-human and deviation system in human. This is the complete deviation system with a fragment of an osteon. This image displays a thin section showing a grid which has been used from the bone section to show how many deviation systems are there. And in this study, by outlining each osteon, you can actually count the area as well as perimeter of each osteon. The data collected can be generated and analyzed to create specific gender as well as age. And the study introduced an automated approach for estimation of age using image processing and pattern recognition techniques. In the modern age, digital radiographs have greatly minimized errors in the interpretation and misidentification compared to the conventional radiographs. Radiographs play a crucial role in providing antemortem evidence, particularly to compare between pre-mortem and post-mortem information. And it helps in the identification for forensic investigations. Digital radiography offers significant benefits. You can actually put them side by side to compare between antemortem and postmortem, and it actually improves the image quality for identification purposes. Digital radiography and photography offer practicality and adaptability to simplify the forensic comparison process. And a study which uses digital forensic osteology, it aims to assess the feasibility of obtaining osteometric parameters using 3D reconstruction from MSCT scans within the autopsy project. This was done on skull by using 32 linear measurements. Next, the skull underwent MSCT scanning with 33 measurements, and they were digitally determined from the 3D reconstruction. The findings suggest that comparable osteometric values can be derived from the reconstruction of the 3D images using scans as well as from traditional manual examination. This is to show you the virtual 3D reconstruction of the skull with the help of the grid reticule. And this is the virtual skull with the application of the measuring sections showing distances between landmarks. And the pilot study showed that digital skeletons based on the reconstruction of the scans are suitable for the examination of the parameters. The comparison between anthropology and radiography in the identification of the vertebrae for the decomposed human remains has been used for comparison between mortem and mortem radiographs to identify the unknown decomposed remains. Through anthropological analysis, it can be determined that a deceased person is actually a male between 23 years at the time of death with certain measurements in height. This is a partially skeletonized human remains of an unidentified male demonstrating adipose and disarticulation of the bones. Side-by-side comparison to compare between the postmortem and antemortem, which allows positive identification on the vertebrae. Case 1, this is to show you skeletonized remains, a probable strangulation. An adult male was found and murdered. And this is the skeletal remains that has been discovered, and with the superimposition of the maxilla and teeth, which match. And this is the teeth match to show you. Another case of an fall from height from misadventure of an immigration officer who was found at the MACC building for allegations of corruption. He actually fall from the ledge of a 4th floor onto the 2nd floor, and a CT scan was done on the skull and on the whole body. And we took off the soft tissue to show you the fractures of the bone. This is fracture on the skull, the insets showing the deceased person, and showing the contour line suggesting the impact, and compound fracture of the femur due to the impact on the legs. And it appeared the deceased person was attempting to walk along the ledge and fell down to his death. Cause of death was severe head injury and positional asphyxia due to fall from heights. A digital autopsy in conclusion can show the pattern of bone dislocations and fractures, helping us to understand how the injury happened and what is the mechanism was like. By using digital autopsy, it helps in our event reconstruction. Case 3 is a murder of a Malaysian in Thailand who was reported missing. She was found in a septic tank in Ranong, Thailand. And the Thai authorities launched an investigation. The investigation in Thailand did not find any physical trauma. As a result, the case was closed. And additionally, the case was brought back, and we had to open up the case again when the skeletal remains were brought back to Perak for further examination. This is the skeletal remains that we have got from Perak exhumation after undergoing CT scan, and on further examination on electron microscopy, it reveals scratch marks on the skull bone. And this is the measurements taken with different measurements on each of the furrows. And on close examination, we can see some cracks alongside the furrows. which actually determines some trauma onto the bone beforehand. I conclude my presentation. I thank you very much.